Hi, Rachel. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. What's for dinner? Hopefully everybody's staying cool.
Yeah.
Rachel, what's your best way to stay cool?
My best favorite way is to be really intentional about the windows and the closing
Hmm.
of the house. You know, it's
Hmm.
like late at night, we open all the windows if it's going to be cool enough.
Hmm.
Certainly, first thing in the morning, we open everything up, let it cool down,
Yeah.
and then
Uh-huh.
I'm like watching the thermostat and outside. And
Hmm.
I go outside, temperature. I come, I work from home, so I can do
Yeah.
this, but and I shut everything down, right? Close the curtains, and
Right,
usually I
right.
can.
Like you're in California. All the
Right.
that's what.
Yep. I have a lot of experience with that behavior from California. So I think that
Right.
that works really well.
Yeah.
And then standing in front of a fan.
That is also good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a fan in the office here, and I'm like, hey, I could actually carry this fan into my bedroom at night, and that's been working really well. So,
Yeah.
and then getting out in the cool of the morning for
Mhm.
for your exercise, yeah,
Yeah.
being careful about that, and then when it's super hot, like 6 o'clock even is still hot. So
Yeah.
I have been this week going to the tour of homes. Do you ever like doing the tour of homes?
I've never done it, but I keep saying I want to.
It's so fun, and it's free in Salem. I think you have to pay whatever if you go to the port. I've never done the Portland one. I've only done Salem. It's fun,
Uh-huh.
just to get ideas and see new things.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do I like best about this? And I'm looking around, and I like best. I like no clutter. So
Mm.
I come home and I'm like this whirling dervish. I'm going to take 12 things out of every room that I walk into, just
Ooh.
repurpose them. Yeah.
I love that because it's
Yeah.
that give you parameters, not I have to declutter the whole room, not
Right.
that the room has to be perfect. 12 things. Take 12 things out of this room
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get rid of it or whatever. I like that.
Right.
That gives you, and then you can
Mhm.
see success.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually
Mhm.
have a reminder on my calendar every month.
Mhm.
Declutter, Rachel. It
Mm.
pops up once a month.
Yeah.
Declutter today. And it's like
Yeah.
usually on a Saturday, and it's a reminder to like look around and declutter. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. And it feels like a new room all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can breathe, you can
Yeah. You can
think.
breathe easier. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So, anyway. All right. Well, we're on our last week, I think. Well, next to last week, but our last, you know, um, blue zone. What
Power
are,
nine, that
what's
the
it?
behavior.
The Power Nine. We're last of the Power Nine. Sorry, I had a little blurb there. Yeah, we're on our last of the Power Nine. Can you give us a little bit of a reprise?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're going through we're exploring the blue zones of the world as described by Dan Buettner in his book and his documentary. And the blue zones are 5 areas around the world in different continents and different countries where they recognize that people are living longer. They're putting years to their life and life to their years
Mm.
up into their 100s, primarily living disease free, chronic illness free, and sort of flourishing, thriving into their hundreds. And so
Mhm.
people got to thinking, why? What's so special about these people? And so they've done a lot of research, a lot of study, a lot of great travel around these areas, and noticed that kind of summarize it down to 9 key lifestyle strategies or 9 key behaviors that we can all learn from. We may not be able to do all 9, and
Mhm.
we may not have the genetic. I love, he says at one point, to live well into your hundreds, you probably have to have hit the genetic lottery. But
Yeah.
but we can live well into our 80s and maybe even 90s.
Mhm.
And that's the goal. I think most people, no matter how many years you live, most people
Mhm.
want to make them full and as disease free, pain free, as healthy as possible. So, what can we
Mhm.
learn from these folks? What can we do and kind of mimic some of their behaviors?
Mhm. Great. Yeah, we want to die with our boots on, right?
Yeah, still doing stuff.
Still doing stuff. That's right. Yeah, and I love, I know that genetics have a lot to do with it, and then there's epigenetics too, and that's where these blue zone lessons really come in because it's the environment. that our genes are in that can kind of turn up or down or change the expression of our genes. And so, and that's so empowering. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. To know that I'm not destined, for X, Y, Z when these things are under my ability to, control or change.
Yeah. I always picture like a gene is like this thing I can stand on. The epigenetics is me on top of it doing stuff. The gene is here and it may or may not turn on.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that's based on what I'm doing up here.
Right.
The epigenetics is my impact and my environment. And I love that you use the word environment. I think for the listeners, it may be helpful to describe what we mean by environment, because often I think all people hear is like the air quality, toxins. Do I live in a hot environment or a cold environment? Do I live in a small town or a big town? But it's more than that. What would you add to environment? And we're even off topic here, but I think this is a great point. What would you add to environment to help people really understand what is impacting our genetics?
Right. Yeah. And I think it's the environment of my mind. Yeah.
Good one.
Environment of my mind, as far as how am I feeding my mind? What am I putting in? How much time I'm spending maybe here in front of screens or versus outside in nature, with loved ones, connected, to my tribe.
There it is.
There it is.
That was so smooth. You're just on this little segue. Woo, I'm going to drive right into the tribe. Here we go.
That's true.
Just drove right in. Well done. Segue to tribe. That is number 9 in the Blue Zone, is because remember we broke it down into some different categories, and we're in the belong category. And there were three of the 9 strategies are in the belong category. And they're all about family and spiritual connection. And then also this final one is about being part of the right tribe, the right group, where the environment you most find yourself. So this could be your work environment. This can be your friend, environment, your home environment. So let's talk about what does it mean to be part of the right tribe. Do you want me to go ahead and read it from the website?
Yes. Why don't you read it for us? Yes.
Okay. So, and the link of this website is in the show notes. But the right tribe, he says, the world's longest lived people choose or were born into. So both options, right? They choose or were born into social circles that support healthy behaviors. The Okinawans created Moais, which are groups of 5 friends that commit to each other for life. At a young age, they commit to life. Research from the Framingham studies shows that smoking, obesity, happiness, and even loneliness are contagious. So the social networks of long-lived people have favorably shaped their health behaviors.
Yeah. Say those things again. Smoking, obesity,
happiness, and even loneliness.
So some positive things. And then, and also some maybe negative things, right? You're going to do what your friends do, maybe, kind of a thing.
Yes, we mimic the behaviors of the 3 to 5 people that we spend the most time with. We will mimic.
It reminds me of a proverb. And correct me, I know you've heard this. Bad company corrupts good behavior.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
like smoking. Yeah.
Yes. And oftentimes the mimicking that we do is subconscious.
Yeah.
It may not be because of peer pressure, like somebody actually saying to you. It may not be a conscious decision you're making. We just become more like the people that are in our tribes. And there's a reason for that. That's a survival mechanism. It's a way to belong. If I'm part of a group and I like you and you like me and we feel comfortable with each other, then now we're going to help support each other. And you'll be here for me and I'll be here for you. And if I'm in danger, you'll help me. And if you're, that's how we build strong bonds. And we do that in this way of mimicking behavior so that we feel comfortable, that we feel
Right.
safe with the people we're with.
Right, right. Yeah, and it's so true. And I like that he points out that there's you can be born into this, or you can choose this, and then
Yeah.
sometimes we might have to change
Mhm.
our tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swap out a little bit. It's one of the hardest things, I think, people, because it feels like ripping a part of you out.
Mhm.
And people, you know, we mourn the loss of those friendships and relationships, even if
Right.
they're toxic and harmful or abusive. Even
Mhm.
we still appreciate the person for parts of right. There's still things, and they fill a void. They fill. They have served a purpose.
Mhm.
But I think it's worth taking a look at relationships, especially peripheral relationships. You know, it's harder
Mhm.
to look at the close ones, and
Right, sure.
that's really hard. That's a lot of work. That's get some therapy,
Right.
and that's a big one. But when we're looking at
Right.
periphery relationships, like people we hang out with at lunch at work
Mhm.
or during school, or
Mhm.
friendships that we hang out with and we go to dinner with or whatever, their choices are strongly impacting our choices.
Mhm.
And typically, what research has shown too is that negative behaviors are more powerfully contagious than positive.
Mm.
It is harder for, like, if I show up with all my healthy actions and behaviors, but everybody else is engaging in, whether it's overeating or smoking or drinking a lot or gossip, or it's going to be really hard for me to hold my ground
Mhm.
and eventually slip into some of
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah,
behaviors rather
yeah.
than me being able to pull them all up to me.
Right, right, right. Exactly. I think of a person standing on a chair and another
Mhm.
person down here, and it's easier for that person to pull that person off the chair than the person on the chair to pull the person up to the chair. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes we have to change your tribe because what our values have in getting healthier, our values may have changed, and we want to live into our values.
Right.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Recognizing that we're changing. If you're on this health journey, you're changing every
Hmm.
day. And before you know it, you will outgrow some people in your tribe.
Hmm.
You will be on a different path, headed to a different direction. And that's where
Right.
you want to go.
Hmm.
And I think what can be helpful too, sometimes this is really hard. Sometimes, just like we do with food, sometimes we don't say, what should you take away? We say, what can you add?
Hmm. Yeah.
Additive mindset is so much easier to start with.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
oftentimes when you add healthy foods, it pushes out the bad, but it's easy to
Hmm.
say, I'm going to add a healthy serving of beans today,
Hmm.
rather than I can't eat this thing.
Right. Yeah.
So with friendships, we can say, I'm going to add some healthier relationships. I'm going to
Hmm.
foster and look
Hmm.
for
Right.
areas where these healthy people hang out. Is it
Right.
online? Where do I find these people?
Right. Right. And it's really not about judgment or anything like that,
Yeah.
or you know, it's really about nurturing, yeah, that your health journey and finding people who share those same
Yeah.
values with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked several times, I think, about how we've had a ripple effect. I know in your community group, you've really had a ripple effect, when you bring um, your yummy, healthy food
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Mhm.
And people are like, "Ooh, Rachel, what's that?" So, I mean, it can be. It's a little bit harder, but it can
Yes.
happen. Yeah, it can
Mhm. Yeah, it's slowly planting seeds, and
happen.
I'm not a rookie at this, right? I've been at
Mhm.
this a
Yeah,
long time, so
right.
when I show up, I feel very solid and comfortable in my health habits. So it's a little bit easier for me to perhaps
Right.
be in mixed company, because I
Hmm.
know who I am. I have an
Right.
identity.
Yeah.
Not that I'm perfect, and not that I still don't stumble, and it can be challenging and tempting, right? When
Yeah.
at the table you're seeing what other people are eating or what other people are doing.
Hmm. Yeah.
But for people who are newly changing their
Hmm.
behaviors or wanting to break some bad habits or
Right.
gain some new
Right.
healthy habits, they're
Yeah.
so fragile, right? These
Hmm.
habits are
Right.
fragile, and
Yeah.
they're in their infancy, and they
Right.
can
Right.
be really difficult.
they're just starting to make these new neuron pathways in their brain, and they haven't solidified and they haven't been practiced. And so they're not running together, firing so forcefully as yours are, on the journey for years, really. And it really takes a lot of time. And there's no shame in that. It just takes time.
That's right.
Our brains change.
Yeah.
And and so I'm thinking, like, people who I vacation with or something like that, that might change. It might change.
Right. Right. And I had a friend say to me one time, years and years ago, that she had heard a quote about that friendships, if and when you outgrow or move out of certain friendships, it doesn't have to be a negative thing, and it doesn't have to be a dramatic hurtful thing. But to just sit and realize that person was important and served a role in my life for a time. Some friendships, some relationships are just for a time, and then we're meant to move on. They're growing one direction and we're growing a different direction, and that can be okay.
Yeah,
if
right.
Our minds around that.
Yeah, I read this book called Seasons, and it really kind of brought that out. Yeah, Seasons of Friendship or something like that. Yeah, you can reflect back and say how helpful, thankful, blessed you were for this person in your life for this time period, and then both of you, so good. Yeah, so choosing your tribe, choosing your tribe. Very important. And so he says a few things here. Identify your inner circle. Who are the people in your life? He says, look through your contact list and put a BZ, a blue zone, in front of the people that, you feel have these similar values that you do regarding.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And then he says, be likable. He said, of the centenarians interviewed, there wasn't a grump in the bunch. So apparently you don't get, I usually, I think about some of the, my older auntie relatives that I knew, and they were full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
But it was kind of fun loving, so he says, there wasn't a grump in the bunch. So likable old people are more likely to have a social network. Yeah. If you're friendly and nice, people want to be around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're old and if you're crotchety,
right.
Probably. Yeah.
Probably not.
And
then and also I think about what that does to your own, when you talk about the environment of your mind.
Oh, right.
Right. Just what are you living with for yourself? Do you want to be friends with yourself?
Right.
That's a tough spot to be in when,
His third thought in this area is to create time together. So be purposeful in spending time. Yeah.
And that takes work.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. It takes work and a value, a prioritization, blocking it out of your calendar. And it's, I think people rarely regret spending time like that with friends, but it's so hard to pull ourselves away from work or your TV show that you're binging, or whatever it is. But I think introverts have a harder time being intentional and seeking friendships and relationships and like social functions. But again, it doesn't have to be, if we feel very comfortable with one or two people, that can, for introverts, that's usually pretty comfortable and safe. And we can engage in those relationships and really invest in them.
Yeah.
And don't have to be social butterflies. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think, my husband's been really he's getting me. It's so funny because I usually think of him as the introvert and I'm the extrovert, and it's actually the other way around. He's the one that is the cruise director, the social director of our calendar.
Really?
He invites people over. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So that's so funny. Yeah. Um, yeah. So, and he's done a great job of connecting, getting, forming a tribe and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
it's so interesting. You don't have to go very far. I mean, we've just been introduced to two new couples right around, within walking
Oh,
distance. Yeah. And it's so fun to get to know new people and to, who share values and then come together on purpose, for a purpose,
yeah.
and really support each other. So,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So, Rachel, how's your garden growing?
She's suffering. I have hope. I'm still hopeful that one day she's going to be like, "Pizzazz! See what I have for you." I was holding out, but I don't know. My tomato plants look pretty good. They all have a bunch of green tomatoes, but nothing's really happening. My zucchini are kind of like just sitting there with a flower or two, and they haven't changed in like a week. I don't know. I don't know if the heat is stunting them. It's not good. To be fair,
Yeah.
I have not been the green thumb that years
Mhm.
past I have been.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I feel your pain. I walked over to look at my onions and I had to, you know, look through the grass that was growing in here. I was like, I didn't plant grass. I planted onions. Why
Yeah,
is there grass here?
yeah.
So anyway, I'm a little behind on my weeding, but the zucchini, I mean, we're eating everything zucchini. So if you want to know what's for dinner tonight, it's zucchini.
And zucchini. It's
Zucchini.
zucchini, zucchini, zucchini. Yeah, I'm eating maybe a little baby yellow tomato out of my garden a day. So things are
Good
not
thing that
there's good things there's farmers and grocery stores because
yes.
we would be starving to death if we relied on meat. Yeah, so for dinner tonight for us, we're getting ready to get, on this big camping trip for a week. So we're kind of trying to eat out, of the pantry and things like that. But we made a big batch of. I think I talked about this once before. My tempeh tacos, my tempeh
Oh,
street tacos. I'm on a
yeah,
kick.
yeah. So
I'm on
good.
a big kick of this.
Mhm,
I do in the little tiny street tacos, the high protein ones, but
mhm,
it's full of beans and bell peppers and onions and tempeh and fresh salsa on top and cilantro. And
mhm.
they're so good. So we made
Sounds
a
good.
big old batch of that so we can kind of
Yeah,
like eat off of it the
yeah,
last couple of days before we leave. So
beautiful.
that's lunch and dinner probably.
It's awesome. Yeah, and I'm trying every zucchini recipe I have.
Mm,
Not bread. I haven't done zucchini bread. Even the dogs are eating zucchini now. They're getting zucchini.
that's great.
It's good for
Yep. Very good for them. Yeah. I When I was at your house the other day, I should have grabbed a couple off your hands.
them. Oh yeah, that's true. I don't know why I didn't offer because they keep coming. Okay.
I didn't think about it.
I can
Yeah.
grow zucchini about shoot it's not a complete protein.
I know. Well, I'm feeling really sad that most people can grow zucchini. I hear that it's kind of like a no-brainer. So what's happening with what am I doing wrong? It should grow like in a
I don't know everything about gardening,
tell me
but
something.
one thing I do know, they need water.
Okay. I do that. I do it every day when it's hot. When it's not as hot, I don't want to overwater them. They got lots of sun. They've got water. They've got space. I don't understand. They're like revolting. They're like, we're not doing it. Stuff like that. We say no, not today.
We're
Not
gonna
gonna
keep
do
it
it.
little.
Yeah. No.
I don't know.
What's
I
going to
got
happen
nothing
is
to say.
in
I got nothing.
October, they're going to go, and I'm going to have zucchini in October. There you go.
There you go. All right. Well, Rachel, I heard you say you're not going to be with us next week. So
I
you
will
have
not.
a beautiful time
Thank you.
camping. And then when we come back, I think we're going to do a nice summary and that's a
Yeah.
recap of the Blue Zones.
Let's do that. Let's recap all 9. Maybe we'll bring some new little tidbits and thoughts to encourage and inspire.
Mhm.
And then we'll have a whole new series for you after that for
Yeah.
August.
Perfect. Sounds great. All right.
Okay.
All right. Enjoy the rest of the day. Stay cool, everybody. Drink that water.
Yes.